intuition says to give you up, but my heart can't easily let you go. I try to tell myself this isn't love, and I hate that I never really know if I should stay or be alone. Stay or be alone.
Finalist, your champion.
Woo!
My intuition says to give you up, but my heart can't easily let you go. I try to tell myself this isn't love, and I hate that I never really know if I should stay or be alone. Stay or be alone. If I should stay or be alone, I don't wanna be alone tonight. I'm just hoping that you'll be just right. And I hate that I never really know if I should stay or be alone.
welcome to Biochemistry 101. All right, so I gotta ask, how many of you are in the industry already? Cool. How many of you want to get into the industry? That's okay. That's what I figured. Knowledge, yes. Cool.
How many of you guys knew about us before coming here? Okay, we all. All right, cool. A few hands, fair enough. All right.
I didn't do my job hard enough. Okay, welcome to Biochemistry 101. All right, so I gotta ask, how many of you are in the industry already? Cool. How many of you want to get into the industry? That's okay. That's what I figured. Knowledge, yes. Cool.
How many of you guys knew about us before coming here? Okay, we all. All right, cool. A few hands, fair enough. All right.
I didn't do my job hard enough. I need to try harder. Okay, cool. All right, so we'll get this started. We're going to do some introduction. So to my left is Mike McNamara. He is the co-founder of Videogame Games, and I'll let him do his thing.
So I used to work for a company called Axis Games. If anyone knows Axis, Blaze Blue, Guilty Gear, Once Upon a Time. I was like their localization producer, doing all the voiceover type stuff, and then I moved to a mocap company that worked on Resident Evil. So I was always the bilingual guy who had to talk to Japan and figure things out. Since then, we founded our company, Panda Games, and way back when, in high school, I probably shouldn't say this out loud because I'm going to incriminate myself. I used to fan sub. Don't ask me for my IRC handle. Free industry, but it was really good practice to just interpret, to translate really quickly on the fly. So don't put it out. If you don't put it out, it's not illegal. So if you want to be a bilingual interpreter, translator, I advise fan sub. It's really good practice, but not fan sub.
Cool. My name is Gail Salamanca. I've been in the industry for almost 3 years. I've been around the block. I worked at Atlas for a little bit during the Persona 2 days, if you remember that game. And then eventually moved on. I was there for about 10 years. Then met Mikey at Axis Games, where we worked on together with Blaze Blue. Calamity Trigger, if you guys know that game. And then we then started our own marketing and localization company called SC Media. And we were doing that. Well, we're still doing that. And then 2 years ago, we're like, hey, let's publish our own video game. We've been working on video games for most of my adult life. That's about it. And then here we are, teaching you wonderful people how to publish your own video.
So you published a total of all one game, but it was on 4 consoles, so just saying. Yep.
Cool. And all the way to the far left is our producer, Misaki Sakari from Mages. So I'll let him.
Hello, I'm Sakari P. Thanks for coming.僕は30年前にこのゲーム業界に入りましたおじいちゃんです。最初は皆さん知らないかもしれないんですけど、データイーストという会社でアーケードゲームを作ってました。その後いろいろあって、今ではシュタインズゲートで有名なメイジスのプロデューサーをしています。今日はよろしくお願いします。
So, Panda Omnia was our first game, which we announced on October 15th of 2020, but it was quite a long road to get from, you know, where we are now to where we started. So I'll let Mikey and Sakari tell that little story anecdote. It's a little fun.
Yeah, I think so. So we were originally promoting Phantom Breaker. That's how we got to know each other. The Battlegrounds, the side-scrolling beat-em-up game. Anyone here knows that game or has it, played it in any capacity. And what had happened is we were looking for a game to publish, and I asked Sakari, hey, can you introduce some games in Japan, maybe some indie games? But we didn't want to spend too much. We had a budget. We wanted to spend maybe about 50 grand for our first project. And that's all we had. That's all we had at our disposal. And then we can get to the details and the logistics later. But at that point, there weren't too many indie games, and Sakari suggested, hey, well, there's this game called Panda Breaker, which of course we knew about, but the fighting game that was never released outside of Japan. So we thought, okay, cool. If we can get this and port it, you know, put some effort into it and then get out to market, then we can publish a game. That's pretty cool. So the lift didn't seem that heavy. And that was
Yeah, that's
Yep.
that number that Mikey mentioned at the beginning, the end number, nowhere near.
But just so you guys know where we started was, I want to say this is like 2018. Yeah, sometime in 2018. So 2 years before we even announced the game, we were talking about, hey, maybe we can publish this game. And this game wasn't even brand new. There was existing assets, music, there was sort of a game engine running around it. And that should give you guys an idea of the timeline. So it took us from start to finish, I want to say almost 4 years. From when we decided to publish a game until it actually came out. So just put that in perspective if you still want to publish a game.
I mean, our case is not the same as every other developer out there. I know there's some one-man bands out there who can develop their game from start to finish and do it all by themselves, but I don't know any of that stuff. I'm not a programmer, and neither is Mikey. I do the marketing and PR and trailers and, you know, fun stuff like that, social media. But yeah, and then finally got around to releasing our game earlier this year in March. So.
It's supposed to come out sooner.
We'll get to that. So here's some of the boring behind the scenes stuff. How to make a game company. What do you gotta know?
This really depends on what scope and what scale you want to be a publisher and how big you want your brand to be. So like Gail mentioned, there's a lot of indie devs on Steam. So publishing on Steam is not that hard, honestly. You can make a Steamworks account. Almost anyone can do it these days. So you just have to be able to make a game. We didn't know how to make a game. That's why we have Sakari here helping us. But we knew we wanted to publish, and we knew we wanted it to be a slightly bigger brand than just the two dudes, Gail and Mikey's game
We
company.
should have called it.
Yeah, two dudes games. So first we had to establish the company, and there's a lot of benefits to this aside from just the branding component. There's legal protections, which I'm not going to get into this. And again, this depends on how big you want your company to be. If you just want to make a game and get it out into the world, go to Steam and you're good. You know, you can make a number guessing game on Steam, publish it in probably a few weeks, and then you're a game publisher too.
That's it.
Yep. And then again, there's a lot of administrative stuff that happens. So get an accountant, get a lawyer, just make sure you have the foundation of what you need to operate the company. And then the next thing is where you want to publish. So if you're just going to go to Steam, you don't have to do much. Make a Steamworks account and you're good. But if you know you want to get your game on Switch, get it on PlayStation, get it on Xbox One, you need to have a publisher-developer contract with each company. So first you need to either know someone inside the company and say, hey, how do I become a publisher? Or in the case of Xbox, they have an ID at Xbox program. So you can become an indie developer for not too much work. But you need this contract, and then finally you're able to get these special, they're called dev kits or test kits, but you need special PlayStations and special Nintendos to develop, because you basically can't run games in development on your retail kit and vice versa.
Yeah.
So get in deep with the first party as soon as you can. Sony, Nintendo, Microsoft, if you plan to publish on those platforms.
Yeah, and after you get all that set up, you definitely want to read the freaking manual. like for all the platforms because there's so many things that, well, we were trying to publish our game. We're like, what is this? We don't even know what there's like. And then our account manager would be like, it's in the manual.
Yeah.
You know,
Our first line of defense is we don't know how to do this, and they would say, go read the manual.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how our interaction went.
Yeah. So it's like, can we get a little help here? Like, you need somebody. Like, no, they're not just like. And then at a certain point, I got frustrated, like setting up the stores, and I was just like, I'm just gonna push buttons, dude. See what happens, right? They're like, it happened. We did the thing, right? So, again, you just need to read the documentation if you want to like publish on anything other than Steam, right? The other thing that you need to know is how to submit. If you're just gonna publish in North America, obviously you need to deal with ESRB. Not so much on Steam depending on your game, but we wanted to publish our first game worldwide. So Panda Omnia is available all over the world, right?
On all the consoles.
All the consoles. So.
And it seems weird at first. It's like, oh, I got ESRB, I'm good. Or there's this international platform called IARC. You think you're good on all the platforms, but not every platform, not every territory is part of this. So sometimes you'll have to actually register directly with different countries to get your game rated. So there's a lot of behind the scenes, reading between the lines, things you kind of figure out as you go.
All right. So, like when you first started your company, obviously we went through a number of things on, hey, Mikey, what should we like call our game company, right? Could it be Two Dudes Games or like, you know, and obviously it ended up with Black Panda Games for, I don't even remember. We had like the whiteboard, we're just like writing down, you know, whatever names that came to mind, and we're like, that sounds cool. Like, we can just call ourselves RPG. Like, okay, let's go with that.
We came up with the acronym first and then tried to find words that would fit it.
Yeah. And we're like, I'm tired of discussing this with you. Let's just do it, right? So, and then, you know, we had some friends like design our logo, you know, yada yada. And after you get your main branding, it's time to like start up your social channels and building a community, right?
And this is before you even make the game. So this is all assuming you know how to make a game. This is everything around it to make sure your game gets the people who you think want to play it.
We recommend Discord to build your own Discord community. I'm sure many of you are on Discord already. It's probably your first line of defense when it comes to bad reviews, because you can go into your community and go like, yo, man, I need my Steam like reviews up. Like, can you hit me up with a, you know, positive review? So again, like, and that's a direct line to your most ardent fans. So Discord, no question, right? Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube, you need all these things, right? And Facebook, I suppose. I still use Facebook, I know. Yeah, but you want to be on all these platforms. You want to be posting to them regularly, updating your, you know, your community, your audiences. You know, obviously after you announce your game or whatever project it is you're working on. You can never, you know, start early enough, right? Yeah. Okay. So this is where development comes in, and I'm gonna kind of defer to Sakari-san over there. But this is pretty much it in a nutshell. You know, like, yeah, just everything's on fire, and you just need to be like, okay, we're just gonna tackle these issues one at a time, right? So I'll let Sakari like share his experience with Phantom Breaker Omnia and its development.
そうですね。ずっと続編は作りたいと思ってたんですけど、プログラマーとかがいざプログラム、過去のプログラムを触ってみると、もう10年前だったので、何を書いてるか覚えてない。そこから始めることになったので、思ったより大変でした。みんな何をやってるかわからないし、で、全員当時のスタッフが揃ってたわけじゃないので、解読しながら少しずつやっていって、もう最終的にはでもやっぱりわからないんで、元々のスタッフを呼び寄せて、スタッフを増やして開発に当たりました。
And there were many challenges. Well, I'm sure we'll get into it as we go along, and we'll keep this very casual. We can keep going because I know time is short. So
All right.
you will have a Q&A at the end if you guys have specific questions, which I'm sure you will.
And I'm just going to finish this off with Murphy's Law, right? Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. From development, localization, in our game we had 7, 8 languages, right? There's always something wrong. And I think we discovered later that I think it was one of the Chinese languages where it was just totally bored. And we're like, what? So we had people coming at us, we're like, oh, okay, so we have to go back and fix that, right? Just even from pre-launch stuff, for PlayStation Store, they're like, oh, your graphic isn't a certain size, rejected. Like, what? So I'm doing late night Photoshop jobs, oh my goodness, just fixing things, right? And that's just the store. That's not even development, right? Yeah, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but it's a mess. And again, we're saying this from our experience. And again, if you are a single developer developing your own game, you know your game and you know what's wrong with it, and you're like, oh. But from our standpoint, we were working with 10-year-old code that nobody knew what to deal with, right? It was just a mess. So, moving right along, what did we learn, right? Here we go, Mikey. This is it. So that number that he, said in the beginning, that balloon.
Just a bit. Yeah, so we knew that we were taking an existing game, and although it wasn't released in North America or around the world before, we didn't want it to be the same exact game. So we knew we had to redo the UI, upscale it to 1080, reporting it anyway. So we figured, hey, we need to add certain components along. And English voices, that was another thing that we added along the way. The entire UI redesign, something we added. 2 new characters. For sure, that was a decision that we had made because we thought, hey, how do we get the existing fans to come back? We need some new content for them to be interested in. Multiple languages, definitely. So by the time we looked at the entire scope of the project, it was nowhere near 50,000.
最初は本当に移植そのまま作るみたいな話から始まってたんで、僕も最初はそれをイメージして、開発コストとか全部計算してたんですけど、どんどんボリュームを足していくんで、ついには予算を超えてしまって、ただマイティはその予算も出しましょう。すごいどんどん何でも OK って言って、僕としては不安になって、本当に大丈夫かなと思いながら開発していました。
Blaming you, right?
He is blaming me. So what's happening? Yeah, at the beginning, this was pitched as a simple port because when I had said the 50,000 number, I want to look for a game in Japan somewhere, et cetera, he said, well, maybe not 50, but you quoted me about 90. I think I can get you Phantom Breaker ported to Steam and a few other consoles, and we can make it work. But throughout the development, we kept on reviewing and saying, hey, we need to do more for this game. We need to do more. And after that, he kept looking at me saying, this is going to change the budget. I know, but we got to do it. So he was worried and he kept looking at me. And I guess it's my fault that it became this big in the end. We spent more money on a game than Magus did. So.
I don't know the money stuff, so
yeah.
This is sometimes a surprise to me. So I did want to mention about MVP, which is minimum viable product. So again, we could have shipped the game as is way back in the day with less features, no languages, straightforward, and it could have worked. We would have stayed in budget. But being gamers ourselves, consumers ourselves, we're like, man, dude, let's give them what I want, right? I want new characters, I want a new UI, I want new music, new language, English language. I want all the voice actors. I want all these things. And then we're like, I'm doing this, bro. And so, it's one of those decisions that you have to make where, okay, maybe if we withhold a few features, and this isn't very consumer friendly, but I did want to mention it, that we could just hold on to those 2 characters and release them down the line. and I know it's like, oh man, don't do that, right? You know, because as a consumer, I know I'm like, damn, why don't they just give me the damn characters, right? But at the end of the day, you got to think about your longevity, your end tail, right? So you can come back and you're like, hey folks, I have a new, I have a new character, and I'm not gonna say, I'm not gonna say any names, but you know who they are, right? But yeah, I mean, these are all considerations that you have to make, when you're making your game, right? And then the other learning is like, don't announce your game before you know the exact movie. And it's happened. Like, Cyberpunk. Everybody. Yeah. Right. And we did the same thing. We're like, we can get this game out in this time, and we announced our date. We're like, hell yeah. And we're like, and then we talked to Dev. They're like, hell no. Like, oh. So, and then obviously you have to like walk it back, right? You have to be like, oh, okay, sorry guys, it's gonna take a few more months to get this out the door. But I think most people are kind of understanding, except for the people of Cyberpunk. People are crazy.
Well, that depends on the community you foster. So again, it's the relationship between you and the fans that are in your Discord, your Twitter, et cetera, and let's just say we said 2021 initially and kept it vague because we're like, there's absolutely no way this thing is gonna get pushed by more than 10, 11 months. Here we are.
これは発売日がずれちゃうからアナウンスが早すぎたとかなんですけど、それはマイキーもちゃんと気にしてて、開発にちゃんとスケジュール通りに間に合うかって何回も聞いてくれるんですよ。でも日本のプログラマーは何とかしますっていう根性パワーで何とかしようとするんですね。で、だから間に合いますって言うんですけど、大抵は間に合わないんですよ。それで予定がずれちゃうっていうことはあります。
And since our announcement, I was very careful about this as the person like looking at the big picture, and the development team insisted, oh yeah, we're gonna do this, it's gonna be okay. I gave them 4 chances, 4 outs, like, look guys, we can reschedule everything, just tell me the truth, what's going on in development. Every time the engineer said, we'll make it happen, it's gonna be okay. And then here we are.
Not okay.
So it's important to really have a perspective into development. So halfway through this, I learned my lesson after twice we had to delay internally. This wasn't even the public delay yet. This is just internally that I had hired an engineer on our side as consultant to say, hey, look, you're going to look at all the code that's being checked in and checked out. So we know what's happening inside the development company. So just full disclosure, May just worked on a lot of the creatives, the artwork, the animation for Panda Breaker Omnia. And there was a different development company that we worked with for the actual coding of the game itself. So I don't want to throw May under the bus. That's my
Cool. Yeah, so we're gonna move into my area, which is marketing your game, right? So you gotta know your audience. In our case, we're very familiar with the FGC, the
Fighting Game community. Yep.
For those who don't know, in our marketing lives, we've helped other publishers market their fighting games, right? Very popular one.
Yep. Yeah, we did.
But no, I still had something. But in our case, we were anime adjacent, right? So we can target people who like visual novels or RPGs or anything that's kind of anime related. So you don't want to like put all your eggs in one basket. You want to hit all those audiences, and hopefully they pick up your game. But fighting games are kind of weird. I would not looking back, I would not start out with a fighting game. For those of you looking to make fighting games, it's very difficult, right? Ruled by just a handful of titles. But anyway, that's a different story. Planning your big beats. So that goes from scheduling your announcements and all your features and characters and trailers and events like this one. When am I going to announce this? All the way up until release. So you just gotta plan your whole, the life of your game out. Prep your assets and trailers ahead of time. So if there's downtime, man, you just want to knock out those art assets off your, PlayStation Store, Steam, the Nintendo Switch eShop, everything. Just do it ahead of time, get that ready so that when you're ready to launch the game, it's ready to go. First party marketing. Okay, so you want to contact your Nintendo, Sony and Xbox reps and say, hey man, I need to get my trailer on your YouTube channel. And you want to do that because, PlayStation's YouTube channel has 1 million subscribers, right? And that's more than anything that we've done, we only have 1,000, people subscribe to our YouTube channel. So a lot more people are going to get eyeballs on your game. So use every little thing that you can use from, the first party. If they invite you to go to that event. I want to show my game at, this convention or whatever. Get to know the gaming press and influencers, right? If this isn't your bag, then hire somebody to do it for you. Hire somebody like us to do it for you because we know those people, right? Doesn't have to be us, it could be anybody, but just do it because this is the bare minimum of marketing your game. All right, it's go time. Right? So you put out your trailers, you announced your game, right? Everybody knows about your game, but nobody does because you didn't do a good job of it. So here's the expectations, right? Right. Hell yeah, watch the game, bro. But this is the reality. In our case, right? And it's not going to be the case for everybody, of course, every game, you could have a Stardew Valley, one dude working on the game, millions of copies, it's just one guy. So he's ooh, he's doing the left side,
Yes,
he's doing that
exactly.
side.
That's
right?
the exception, I would say.
Yeah, that's the
And
exception.
the irony is, we had talked to our Sony reps afterwards. I met up with them at game events, and they would tell me, oh wow, yeah, your game's actually not doing that bad. We see games that launch with double-digit numbers of sales, literally. So this person would have spent however long developing a game, launched on PlayStation, 20-some copies, 30-some copies, and you could do the math. If you do that times $20, that guy made $400, and that's it. So know kind of the scope and the expectation, and monitor your wish list. Look at how fast your Twitter accounts are growing. Look at the different metrics that are out there, because there's telltale signs of where your game is positioned. You might get lucky, there might be an influencer or somehow you go viral, but don't count on that because it rarely happens.
Yeah. So this was our breakdown on our sales by platform. We did the best on PlayStation 4. And in the beginning, we thought Steam was going to be the runaway success. It wasn't. It just wasn't. There's too many freaking games on Steam. There's too many freaking games in general, right?
Yes.
What did surprise us a little was Xbox One, and maybe that was the appetite for something anime on Xbox, right? You're like, oh, okay, right. And Nintendo Switch was a little bit higher than Xbox One, but we were kind of expecting a little bit more out of Switch, I think.
True, but I think it's because Sakari's secretly a huge Xbox fan, right?
I know, cool. So this is units sold by region on Steam. Obviously, North America, we are based in North America. We know the most people here in terms of press and influencers. This is just our strongest.
And I think in hindsight, yeah, this is pretty obvious because, again, like Gail said, we're marketing in English primarily, North America. The game was originally a Japanese IP. So those were by far the two regions that smashed it. And then everything else kind of trickled in. So initially we thought, hey, it's going to be kind of an even split, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, Europe, Japan, North America, not quite.
Right. We were kind of disappointed with actually Western Europe, because we have things in it, so which is French, Italian, German, and Spanish, right? But it just didn't pan out that way. and it didn't surprise us that Latin America was in the mix because they love the King of Fighters. Yeah, they love the anime and they love the King of Fighters, right? So, and again, this is based on a fighting game, right? So other genres, this will not apply to those. If you're making a Metroidvania or action platformer or RPG, it might not come out this way. And again, this is units sold by country, obviously the United States, #1, followed by Japan. Again, Argentina, huge. China.
We won't say why Argentina is so huge. If anyone buys games on Steam, I'm sure you know.
Yeah. They're like, I'm gonna use my VPN.
Is this interesting to you guys though? Seeing these games? Okay. Cool.
I'm gonna take over a little bit here. So what didn't work in our marketing campaign and all that other stuff, right? So,
Wait, we should go quick though, because we're already like over half our time.
Okay,
You're going to
so
turn this into a 2-hour panel.
Yeah.
We can go really fast so we can open it up to the floor. I want to see what you guys want to know.
Okay. So what didn't work? We kind of knew all this stuff wouldn't work. But it was cool. Like we've all had experience in doing these campaigns. So manga, right? Like we needed a story to tell why the 2 new characters exist in this game. So we did a manga, right? Nobody read the manga.
On Webtoons, by the way. So we're trying everything, just throwing at it, seeing what sticks. Yep.
In-game influencer involvement. So Amelie, I don't know if you're familiar with her. She's sung a lot of anime covers. So she sings the opening theme in our So people who love it, like we're like, oh yeah, we'll buy the game. No, because they're like, I don't like fighting games, but I like your song. Right? We have an all-star voice cast. So if you look at our voice cast, we have like a lot of heavy hitters, and we thought that was like, oh hey, like
if just 1% of their fans. So that was our theory. If just 1 to a few percent of everything that we're doing, of all of our millions of impressions, take action, then we're in good shape. But that doesn't necessarily convert the way you think it does.
Right. And influencer press kit mailings, multiple languages, special one-off events, right? So we did an event at Anime LA. We had Shibuya Kaho, if you're familiar with her. Help pimp our game there. We had a dance party. It was cool, right? But it doesn't exactly convert. Like I'm just here for Shibuya Kaho or whatever, right? It's cool, but because in the end, it's a cool branding exercise for us because we can say, hey, we worked with Shibuya Kaho, like at the end of the day.
Yeah, we were flexing.
Yeah, we were flexing. So, we did an event at Honey Butter. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Honey Butter in Irvine. Yes, macarons, right? It was an awesome event, right? These things cost money, right? So everything that we spend,
But to our credit, I think we did every event super indie style, calling in all the favors from all the people we knew in the industry, 10 years of experience at our agency. There were a lot of favors we had to call in. Every single one of them, the voiceover studio, hey, I need a favor. Like, we got to do this on the cheap, help us out. Everything that we could. But surprisingly, people came out and we had a lot of activations, but I think we overestimated the crossover between what activation we were doing versus how it converts into actual game sales.
Yeah, the upside for the Honey and Butter is that we exist semi-permanently in their store. So you'll see a big poster of Panda Breaker characters on their back wall. So if you're ever in the Irvine area, go to their store and you'll see Panda Breaker there. So cool, right? Then why bother? Why bother doing this? Steam Next, huge, right? We had a demo for a game. After that event, our wish list went, shot up crazy, right? Have a good trailer. I can't stress that enough. If you can do multiple trailers for your games, like showing off different parts of your game, do it. And like I mentioned before, Discord community, right? Like build that community. You can go back to them. And you're like, hey, I need a positive review. Please send it. Give it to me. Right? So, there's that. But most of all, our release date trailer.
Oh yes! You want to know what time it is? It's Phantom breaking time! Oh yeah! Let's go! The fire in my heart is burning! Is your body ready? 20 different characters! Are you okay? 3 different fighting styles multiplied by 20 characters, and well, that's a lot of combinations! Maximum combos! Maximum fun! No way! Fighting! Lots and lots of fighting! Oh my! Spicy! Go into overdrive and let's go crazy! Yeah! Boom-baya! Unleash the power of 1,000 suns on your opponent! Not gonna lie, I'm actually excited about this one! Giant magical tigers! Oh yes, indeed! Get out a fighting game jail card! Has to go and collect $200! Battle your way through story mode because reading is an essential life skill! What is she looking at?
Where did this come from?
Medic! You said you wanted more words and we listened! Whoosh! Yeah! Click, clack, bada bing, bada boom! Are you ready to break some phantoms? Phantom Breaker Omnia! March 15th, 2022! The fire in your heart will be burning like habanero salsa!
Why did that work, right? So I don't know if you recognize Maximilian for your FGC. He's like, I'm gonna watch this. I'm gonna do a React trailer, and that was the case for when we every FGC person said, I'm gonna react to this video because it's so goofy and stupid, right?
I think they all collectively facepalmed, but it was good because that was so many million impressions that one trailer got us. It was probably one of the most effective stunts that we did. So now you have to acknowledge that we live in the TikTok, Instagram Reel culture. It's a reaction culture. You have to give the influencers something they can work with. And this was kind of a happy accident, I would say. Like we just said, hey, let's try this thing and have fun with it.
Right. And this wasn't planned. So this little bit or this trailer turned into Spicy Edition, where we added the announcer to the game. So later
one of the single most comments in all the reactions is, "Oh, is this going to be in the game? Oh crap, it's not in the game." What do we do?
So Jameson Boaz, I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's the singing voice of Agretzko.
Yeah.
So and he remixed all of our music. So
yeah, he's a music composer.
Yeah, so talented dude, awesome. He did the announcer voice for us, did us solid, and then he went back. We're like, dude, we want you, to actually do the voices, the announcer voices in the game. We're like, cool, all right. And that led to this. This is a free update coming in the next month or so-ish.
End of July-ish. Right?
Remember that whole thing about mentioning release dates?
Yeah.
There it is. Cool. All right. So factors beyond our control. Right? There's no way that you're gonna release your game when there's no other games around it, right? But you can't just hold on to your game forever. You gotta release it sometime, right? And it just happens. We knew that KOF was coming out, and then P4 I said, hey, we're gonna come out the same week as you. And then Elden Ring was before that. We're like, okay.
Yeah.
So, it happens. It's gonna happen. It's you can do your best to plan around it, but you just can't hold on to your game forever. So there's that. Other factors beyond our control. So we developed this, during COVID time, right? So, first it wasn't really that much a problem. We were already working remotely, at least our team, but on the dev side, they weren't used to working remotely. They were usually just people in a room and they had to work together and talk to each other, and then COVID happened and everybody went work from home, and that definitely affected our, development schedule. for sure. You know, and again, it's just for us. And then we had a whole slew of events. You know, planned. We're like, we're gonna hit Anime Expo. We're gonna hit out, you know, Anime NYC, Evo. Nope. And as you can tell, we're only here now 3 years later at Anime Expo. So all those plans went to poof. So we had to, you know, change direction. We needed to do online events. You know, do
The spicy trailer.
Yeah, the spicy trailer.
That could have been a result of COVID.
Yeah,
for all we know.
exactly.
Yeah.
So we had to put our resources into different baskets to make up for this lack of marketing that we don't have anymore. You know. What's next for Rocket Panda Games? So next month at Evo, we have a tournament going on with Vortex Gallery, $1,000 prize pool. So get good, guys. And then again, like we mentioned before, LED Spicy Edition coming. I'm not gonna say it because it's gonna be cursed, but you know, later.
It's summer though.
Yeah, later
So
this
yeah,
summer. Yeah.
confirmed summer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do that.
Yep.
Do that. If you need to buy yourself like a month or two, just say a season. Next, earlier this week, we announced that we acquired the Phantom Breaker IP from Mages. So I'll let Mikey talk about that, and then what Sakari-san feels about that. Like, why do these jokers have my IP, right? So.
Well, this was an important strategic move, and again, I'm like the business guy, business ops, business strategy, long term, and we knew we were investing a lot into Omnia, so it would suck really if we invested all this time and money to promote a game that ultimately we won't have any stake in the long run. So very early on, we had talked to Sakari and said, hey, can we put an option on this for us to acquire it at a certain point in the future? And we got that into the contract. This is all the business stuff. I don't know if this is interesting, but that was in the contract at a very early stage. So once we saw where Omnia was headed and what we were doing, we thought, hey, we could do a lot with this IP that I don't know if I want to confirm. So Magus wasn't really doing much with it at the time. So I thought that kind of left the door open for a lot of different other possibilities. So I don't know if you guys can tell, we're trying to figure out what the next vision or the next stage of the game is going to look like. So I was experimenting with some different artwork, and that's what Reignition is. So we honestly don't have anything confirmed yet. We just have the IP now. We're going to now start talk about, well, what can we do? What do the fans want? What do new fans want out of this IP?
Yeah, and it's not just, it could be anything besides video game. It could be, anime, manga.
Oh yeah, I want to make an anime. I want to make a manga. I want everything.
Except for live action. Nobody likes the live action anime, apparently. So.
Really? You didn't like Cowboy Bebop? Oh, I wasn't supposed to mention it.
And yeah, so let's get Sakari's thoughts on that.
どうですか？
ファントムブレイカーはメイジスでも結構どう扱っていいかっていう難しいタイトルだったので、伸び悩んでたというか、いまいち弾けてなかったんですけど、ロケットパンダさんに IP を渡すことによってスパイシーな出来になると思いますので、これからに期待しています。Spicy.
Yeah, like there's never going to be a spicy Steins Gate.
Wow. Ask for it.
This is a case study. Present this.
And that's kind of our talk. So hopefully you learned something.
We're getting a 5-minute warning right now, so we want to open it up and at least give some people the opportunity to ask some questions. So we have Kana in a panda suit. She has a microphone. If anyone wants to ask some questions about publishing, if you have a game, if you have anything, if you're at any stage in trying to get your game out to the world, yeah. Oh, go ahead and come line up.
Hello?
Oh, you turn on? Can we get the wireless mic on? All right, there we go.
All right, cool. Who's the programmer? You said you, right?
No, I'm not the programmer.
Oh, okay.
Neither of us are.
Yeah, neither one of us are the programmer.
Just a general question, because I'm a computer science student,
Okay.
and I want to know if I should learn a specific language for like video games like C++, C Sharp, or like Python, or a gaming engine instead. What do you recommend?
Honestly, I would learn everything. Like, I know it sounds very generic and safe, but nowadays there are so many different platforms, and Unreal is free. I would just go into Unreal, mess around with that a little bit, and Unreal, you can plug C++ into it and then write custom code for whatever you need to do. So I would start with messing around with Unreal and Unity just to get a sense of what game dev is like. And those two alone can, if you try to give yourself a deadline and say, hey, I'm gonna make something, then you'll have an idea of what you need to learn.
All right, thank you.
Hello. I saw the game and it was really good, but I was wondering, like, when you're publishing the game, do you ever like check like Reddit and see like if there was like a bug into it and see like if you want to fix that? And also, would you like consider like? Actually, I'll just say the first question. I forgot the second question.
Yeah, the first week, I think, Gail, you were on the front
scouring
lines.
everything.
Yeah,
I was scouring
everything,
like the
forums.
Steam forums, Reddit. Wasn't too much discussion on Reddit, but definitely on our Steam forums and our own Discord. And you know,
Twitter.
and we put up a support link like, hey, if you have a bug, like let us know, and we'll see if we can fix it. And you know, even in that time, we were like, okay, we can fix that, we can fix this, you know, that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, definitely you want to do that like after your game's launched.
All right.
It's tough because you want to fix everything. Like, you know this is your product, but we inherited 10-year-old code that was out of our control. So we could only go so deep, which sucked. But that's the reality.
All right. Thank you.
You guys talked about, what you guys thought worked and didn't work in terms of promotion, stuff like that. In this particular case, it was for a fighting game, and you guys are kind of still thinking about getting the next step. Do you think those things would apply in a different genre, or do you think you take those lessons across, or maybe try to attempt it again and see if it worked differently? Or
Yeah, like in the case of like voice actors, right? That would definitely work for like a genre that wasn't so closed off. Like that would be like, oh, it's a fighting game? No. But for a role-playing game, like Peach is my favorite, voice actor. Like I can play RPGs, and I want to listen to that. So in that case, like that would work. That's like one of the examples that definitely would you should totally do. If you can afford it. But again, that comes back to voice actors cost money, right? Like I don't know how much to do one character, right?
I mean, to develop a fighting game, yeah, but I think, let me think.
Just the voice acting.
Just the voice acting part, I would say it probably cost about $20 to $40 to record one line. So if you do the math, and that's just shooting from the hip numbers based on my experience. So it can balloon real fast.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
goes back to our talk about like, whoa,
Yeah.
you got to rein in your future sessions.
Yeah. And I'm getting the end flag right now. So I'm afraid we're gonna have to wrap it up right away. One more question? No?
Okay.
One more question. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Last question. Yep.
All right, no pressure for the last one. I'm currently working on a game with another other person, and one of the things that we're starting to at least think about right now is when is a good time to start marketing a game. Is it perhaps a prototype, at the beta release as soon as possible, just for at least maybe to acquire a trademark, or maybe just release a trailer to kind of build a big excitement from the first jump to set?
I want to say that it's a little bit genre specific. So if you have like an open world game that that changes, like a roguelike or something, people won't have the same experience, playing your game, right? So like something like that, you can show early as possible because your game's gonna change a lot, from the time you announce it. Other times it's drop it like it's hot. Like, man, 3 months after release, like and just hit it hard, right? And also that's kind of what we tried to do, but then we got delayed, and we're like, oh damn, we have to delay the game.
So there, I mean, I know that's not the answer you're looking for. There's no right answer, honestly. And it depends on how strong you can market your game and how good it looks and how much lead time you need to build a community versus if you have a huge push or a huge marketing budget, you can blitz it and say, hey, look, we dropped a trailer 3 months later, we're gonna hit it really hard. So it really depends on where you are. I don't know your game and what your development situation is, but my guess is you'll probably want to start teasing things and build a following, and then maybe do a Kickstarter, maybe do some kind of community-funded activations that can help you get the game to a prototype or to a Steam early access state.
Thank you.
Wrong.
Awesome. Well,
all right. Thank you guys for coming. So before we send everyone off, though, Barry, did we do the thing with the chairs?
Yes.
Okay, if you guys want to look under your chairs, there's going to be a few lucky people who are going to receive Steam keys to our game. Yes.
Sorry. There's supposed to be 10 of those out,
So, yeah, otherwise someone in the next panel is going to get really lucky and find a game to a panel that's completely not related.
Yeah, and
So,
again, if you guys want to stop by our booth, we'll be around, and if you have those questions, feel free to stop by. Thanks again.
All right, thank you guys for coming. Hopefully you can publish your game.